Hey, this is Brent Boyer here from Adam. I wanted to talk to you about what to do after being served with divorce papers. So, your wife has filed for divorce, you get served with papers. What do you do next? Whether you've been expecting it or not, it's something to consider, something to look at what's your next steps, what's your next moves. So, our advice, first of all, is to talk to a divorce attorney. Whether you have intentions of hiring an attorney or not, it's good to get advice early on in the process, and it's good to get a sense of what this all means, what the legal documents say, what they mean to you, and what your next steps should be. So our advice would be meet with a divorce attorney, first of all, and take a look at what this is going to be and what you're expecting to happen here. So a divorce case is a lawsuit. So once you've been served with papers, you typically get served with a complaint for divorce, a summons, maybe some other court orders, maybe orders that are already signed by the court, maybe a copy of a motion. So there's a lot to take in with a divorce, especially if there's minor children. Then there's other state required forms like a verified statement and some other things that you would be served with. Depending on the county, you might also be served with a piece of paper that gives you one or more court dates. For example, in Oakland County, you get 2 court dates right at the beginning. Those come in the initial paperwork. So it's a lot to look at, a lot to be thinking about as you look at the initial divorce papers and what you've been served with. So how you respond at this point can make a difference in how the divorce case is going to proceed. Once you've been served with the divorce complaint, you have 21 or 28 days, depending on how you were served, to respond. So what that means, if you were personally served with the paperwork, is you only have 21 days to respond. To say it another way, you have 21 days to get an answer filed with the court and a copy sent to either the other party or to the attorney and filed with the court. So that's one thing to be looking at here as you go forward with how to proceed with these papers that you've been served with, is the clock is ticking. You either have 21 or 28 days. If you were served by certified mail, you have 28 days. Either way, a short amount of time, 28 days at the most, to file an answer and go forward. That's where the advice from an attorney comes in and is helpful. You would want to get a sense of what this time frame means. You might also be served with court orders at the beginning. If there's a court order that's been signed, you typically have 14 days to file objections to that order, so now the time frame for a response is even shorter. So the divorce case is then moving forward at that point once you've been served with the court papers. So it's important to take a look at what your next moves are, what your plan will be, come up with a strategy, and start figuring out what's important and what needs to happen. A failure to respond can lead to a default being filed, meaning ultimately it's possible for the wife or whoever it is that's filed for divorce against you, it's possible for them to proceed without you and go forward and make their own decisions if a response is not filed. So it's important to protect your rights early on in the divorce, get proper advice, look at all the paperwork that's been sent to you, get a sense of what the paperwork says, what's in there, what court dates are in there, if any, what other things are on the horizon. There might be a motion, which is a written request for a court date, in the paperwork, meaning there's a request for a court hearing. So all things to sort out one page at a time and get some proper advice early on. Thanks.